Hey everyone, follow along with me as I create a scheduled job. I received a message from my future senior developer that says, "Hey Kalisha, we need a scheduled job created to run monthly on the last day at 12 p.m. Acme North America needs to assign active users to a manager after training. The manager to be assigned is Andrew Jackson." So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to scheduled job and open up a form to create one. So you'll click on your all menu, type in scheduled job, which I already had typed in, and I'm going to go to the module under system definitions. Once I get here, I'm going to go ahead and click new. And it's giving me three options. I can either automate the generation of a report, or I can generate something like a record from a template, or I can just automatically run a script of my choosing. And for the requirements, that's what I'm going to be doing. So let's click on that. Now that we have the form up, we can kind of dissect the information that was given to us in the message. For run, we're going to need this to be monthly. End of the month. And to run at noon. As for our script, which is basically going to run all of this information after the month, day, and time is met. So let's type script and let's dissect what all is needed in the script. So we know we're searching for records. So we're querying for records. So we're searching for active users who have no manager because they need their manager to be assigned to Andrew Jackson. So they have no manager and they're at the company Acme North America. Right now, that is all the information I believe I need. So let's go over to our form to create the scheduled job. Let's name it. I'm not the best at naming, but I'm going to say monthly manager assignment. All right. We don't have any conditions, so if I want, or if I would like to take this off, I could go to personalized form, and either I can check this box and it'll move, or I can hit this minus sign here and it'll hide it as well. But I don't mind it being there so it can stay. Let's read this because it should help us in the run section. So for scheduled job types that require an entered time, you have the option to enter an associated time zone. If no time zone is selected, it will run on the time zone of the user who entered the time. And if used system time zone is selected, the entered time zone will run on the instance that's running. Okay. So we're going to do our run for monthly. For the day, we're going to do end of the month. We're going to do 28, the 28th, because February, I don't want February to be excluded from this scheduled job. So for time zone, I'm going to do use system time zone so that it can run at the same time for everybody. And then as for the hours, we're going to do 12. If you know how to specify if it's 12 p.m. or 12 a.m., let me know. Just let me know. I'm just going to put 12 right now, and fingers crossed it's talking about 12 p.m. noon. All right, so when it comes to the script portion, we're going to need to pull up some information because we need certain table names, sysids, and field names, things like that. So we're going to be pulling up the user table. And I'm going to just copy and paste this URL into a new tab. All right. So once we get here, I'm just going to go to the All menu, type in users. We're going to go to the user table that's up under users and groups. All right. Once we get here, I want to go ahead and remove any filters. So I'll hit the all just to make sure, but you would have saw them in the breadcrumbs, any filters in the breadcrumbs here. And then I'm going to open this filter condition builder here, and I'm going to add in active because we're looking for active users. So active is true. And I'm also going to look for manager, the manager field, and make sure that it is empty. And then I'm going to look for users who are at the company Acme North America. And let's run that and just see how many records we're about to be dealing with. Okay, so it's 138, which you can see down here. 138. So we're just going to open one. Here, and we see that we're going to be needing information from the manager field here, and also the company field, which is here. All right. And then another thing that stood out in our requirement is that Andrew Jackson is about to be set as the manager for 138 records, which are going to be pulled. Okay, so let's copy and paste this again and open another tab. And I just like to get all the information that I'm going to need for my script ready before time. So we're going to hit all and remove those filters. I'm going to type in Andrew. We can find his user account or user record. Sorry. Let's slide that over here. All right. Back to the script. So to start the script out, I like to leave myself a comment so I know what's going on if I ever have to come back to it. So 2 slashes and then write out your comment. So my comment is going to be that I am going to be querying for active users. Active users where manager is empty and company is Acme North America. I'm going to create a variable. So we're going to type in the VAR value. It's a fixed value for variable, and we're going to hit space. And this is server-side code, so we're going to be using Glide Record. If you need more information on Glide Record or what Glide class to use, go over to docs.servicenow.com and look up Glide class overview, and you'll be able to see which ones you would need. For this one, we're using Glide Record and Glide System. And then we have Glide Record to give you more information on that, and I'll have these links for you as well. So let's get back to the script. We're going to do GR for our abbreviation, space, equal sign. What is our Glide Record going to equal? A new one for one. So new Glide Record, capitalize both words in this one. And we're going to specify the table, because if you go to the documentation, it says a Glide record is an object that contains records from a single table. So we need to define what table that is. So after you do Glide record, parentheses, single quote, and we're going to type in the name of the user table, which is going to be sys_user. Now, how would you find that? You go to the user table. We can click into one of these account records, right click the field name. If you go to show, it will pull up the dictionary info. Sys user right here beside table is the table name. All right. So this is going to be our first line of code. We're going to end it with a semicolon, which is like the period, but in the code world. So let's go to our next line, the table. So glide record, period, add active query. And we're going to camel case this. So we're going to uppercase the first letter of every word after the first word. Active query. So you can just click on it right here. This is going to be the method that we're using. If you hover over it, it gives you information on the method. So add active query as a filter to return active records. So basically our first requirement is met. Basically looking for those active users, because this is going to query active records from the user table. So parentheses, semicolon, next line of code. There is another way to get the active records though, and you would just do gr dot add query, still going to camel case, and then would do your parentheses. But at this point, you would single quote it, add in a field name, the field name, because the thing about add query is that usually it takes 3 parameters to call, which would be the table field, the operator, and then the comparison value. But if no comparison value is listed, it's going to be assumed to equal to. So if I was to just do active, come outside of the single quotes, comma, single quotes, true, like this, it's going to say, okay, on the sys user table, look for the active field being true or being equal to true. But the way I did it, this basically is the same thing. So you can either do this way and then always do a semicolon at the end, or you can do add active query. So we're going to delete that. We don't need it. Our next line of code will be looking for the manager field being empty. So gr dot add query, how we just did. I'm going to do parentheses. Oops. We're going to do parentheses, single quotes. Let's go get the name of the manager field. So go to the manager tab. We're going to right click, show manager, manager, all lowercase is the field name. To be on the safe side, you can always copy and paste, because your script will not run if your field names are not correct or don't match. Control V to paste that in. Outside of the single quotes, we're going to do a comma, single quote again, and we're going to leave it just like this because we want the manager field to be empty, and that's how you would signify it being empty. Next line of code will be gr.add query, because now we're looking for active users who don't have a manager and are at the company Acme North America. So parentheses, single quotes, we're going to do the name of, get the field name for the company field. Right click, show company, company lowercase is the field name. Control C and then Control V outside of the single quotes, comma, and then single quotes again. Now we're going to get the sys ID for the company Acme North America. Now we're going to do that by going to the context menu, upper left hand side by the back arrow. We're going to go to show XML. When we go to show XML, you see all of the field names, and then you see the field values. We go down to company, we see the display value as Acme North America, and then we see these numbers and letters. This is the sys ID. This is what the code basically can read, or the script. This is what the script can run. So Control C on that. Let's go back to the last tab, Control V, and then we're going to go outside, semicolon. Next line of code will be us basically like activating the query. To do that, we'll do gr dot query, parentheses, semicolon. Let's see what it says specifically. gr.query runs the query against the table based on the specified fields by add query. For our next line of code, we're going to hit enter twice. Now we're going to go in with a while loop. So if we type in while, we see it here, we can just press enter. We're querying multiple records. Now I got this information from a LinkedIn post. I could not find a product documentation article on it, but this is the post for reference. I'll drop a link to this as well. So we're going to do a while loop because we're querying multiple records, basically saying, okay, execute this code until these specific records conditions are met. Now, when we get here, we're going to give it some parentheses. We're going to do GR for our glide record. We're going to hit it with a period and do next. Okay. We're going to give those their own. And then we can hover over. So this gr.next will move to the next record in the glide record. So we know that this query is going to pull 138. So while we're getting these multiple records, let's move to the next one or the first one so that we can start making these changes on those records. So that leads me to a curly bracket and space. Now, I'm going to leave a comment with 2 slashes because what are we doing to these records? We are setting manager to Andrew Jackson. Definitely could have capitalized his name, but we're going to move on. So to do this, we're going to do GR for our glide record. So on the first or on the next record, if we go off of this, so on the next or first record from this query, we're going to gr.manager. We're going to go to the manager field. And we're going to set it equal to the sys of Andrew Jackson. So I have his user account up here. And to get his sys, we're just going to go context menu, copy sys. Tap that or select that, Control V. On the outside, we're going to hit it with a semicolon. And then to solidify this update to the record, we're going to do gr.update, semicolon. This should run properly. But let's go ahead and check it without having to like execute this schedule right now. So we're just going to save. We're going to save that. And actually we can hit format code. We should always do that as well, just to ensure that the format is correct. So let's just copy and paste, or I'll copy and paste this code. Control C. And we're going to go to our all menu and type in background. And then we're going to go to script background. All I did was format the code up and go back in and do that. It's going to pull this up. This allows us to just run code, but I'm going to paste the code that we just did in, to take out the comment, and I'm also going to take out the gr.update because I don't need this code to actually update anything. I'm just trying to check that it matches the same amount of records as here. So we're hoping that we get 138 records, I believe. Let's go ahead and put the filters back in. And manager, empty, and company. Yes. empty. Run 138. So let's go back to this tab. Now, before we run this, we're going to add a glide system and there's an article here on that as well. I will link it in the video for you. So we're going to do gs.info. Once we do gs.info, we're going to do parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we're going to camel case get row count. This is going to pull the number of records that this script queries. So get row info, semicolon, get row count. We're using gs info. Hit run script. Inside the parentheses for gs.info, we got to specify that we're getting the count, the row count for the glide record that we just created. So gr.getRowCount. Give it its own set of parentheses and then close the parentheses from the gs.info method. Now when we go to run script, it shows us that it's pulling 138 records, which is the same amount that's over here. So our script worked, and there you go. Schedule job created.